When was the first time that we met each other? Like how many was that, 2 years?
Years ago.
Yes.
It was June of 2020.
Oh
It was
my
when I
goodness.
started the certification program with you. And I had just decided to leave the job that I had and get into coaching. And that's when we met.
Oh my goodness. I was trying to think back because I know the world, and I know part because of the expertise that you bring when you talk about certain things and jobs and all. I can tell you know it because this was your world before. Um, but I don't know if I've ever asked you to share your world before becoming a coach. What were you doing before?
Before I was a coach, I was actually a coach in a sales team. I was the director of sales enablement, and I worked in two startups. And then I worked prior to that in a large pharmaceutical distribution company. And prior to that, I was in tech. I worked in all the big companies in tech, in some form of enablement, some form of training, some form of program management. Always had large teams, global teams, and always worked on the go-to-market side. So I
Mm.
wasn't in finance or HR or any of those functions, which are great functions, but I was always customer focused, something to do with the customer.
I can totally see that. When you share, when you provide advice to our fellow coaches who are maybe coaching someone that's somewhat in this space, I can totally see all that come through.
Right.
And curious to know what made you become a career coach.
Well, it's all the coaching experience. Well, first, I love helping people on their journeys. That's just the biggest thing. So in
Yeah.
enablement, that is the whole point, is to make sure that the person has knowledge, skills, abilities to really, kill it on their jobs, really execute well. And I did a lot of one-on-one coaching. And I thought, this is really what I want to do. The budgeting process and setting up all the projects and all of that part, while wonderful and sustained me for a long time, is something I wanted to get away from and focus exclusively on coaching. So pulling
Mm,
my coaching experience, my management experience, just deep knowledge of tech industry, I thought would be a great intersection. And
yeah.
I just wanted to run my own business. Yeah.
Oh, right. And running your own business and the deep knowledge around tech and enablement. Would you say those are the types of clients that you coach?
Exactly. I would say primarily about 80 to 90% of my clients are mid to senior level managers or people who are going up the individual contributor track to become fellows, up that very technical track, in roles in obviously sales and customer success, because that's where I spend a great deal of my time, but also marketing and product management. Worked very closely with product management teams in my sales roles. So very strong. While I was never a product manager, a very strong background in project management.
Mm-hmm.
And so I focus mostly in tech in that area. I do have a bit of knowledge of healthcare. So I've worked with several clients in healthcare as well. I understand the issues that healthcare industry faces and some of the roles. Yeah. And that includes medical devices. I've helped quite a few clients in medical devices around product management.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say would be some of your successes that you've seen your clients achieve?
Well, interesting. I have one client that comes to mind who was just a really highly skilled, competent, seasoned program manager. And she was in pharmaceuticals, she was in big pharma, and she wanted to make the move into tech. And there are just some things that need you need to be aware of when you make that kind of a pivot. And her primary concern was whether or not her skills and achievements in program management, very strategic, would move well into tech. So
Mm,
we focused really carefully on her resume to make sure we pulled those things that were relevant to the new position and really highlighted those and emphasized those. And we also understood the cultural difference between those two industries so that when she interviewed, she sounded like she was from tech. She sounded like she got the background. She studied the companies very, very closely, understanding the issues with each company, what might the roadmap be if any of that was public, as well as the people she was interviewing with. And we practiced every week, recording calls, making sure she had the culture, she dressed right for where she was going. And she got the job offer at a FANG company, which is exactly what she was looking for. And after some nerve-wracking negotiations, she got the job she wanted. And we're both delighted with the outcome. It was a good story. It was a good experience.
Yeah, that is a great story. And what do you see when you're helping her negotiate? I hear this a lot, that oftentimes women don't negotiate nearly as hard, maybe, or nearly enough.
Yeah. So she said, well, this is what I make. Okay, great. What do you mean? Okay, great. No. Here are some opportunities. You are waving your magic wand. This isn't the hypothetical. If you could wave your magic wand, what would you do? You are waving your magic wand. Get the thing that you want. What do you want? What's your value? What are you worth? What would make your personal dreams come true, not just your career aspirations? So she went in about 30% higher than her current pay, and she got it.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that is great. That's great. Gosh, it feels so great, doesn't it? I hear that a lot. What does it feel like to you when one of your clients gets the position that they've always wanted?
Oh my gosh. It is the biggest high. It is the biggest, not just a sigh of relief. I mean, that's obvious that, okay, we did that, but they learned the confidence. They overcame fears. They overcame maybe some preconceived notions that weren't entirely accurate and allowed themselves to make that change, see the possibility. And when they land that, I don't know, the heart is just so full. The heart just sings. It's an amazing thing to see that happen. It's like, okay, the world is a great place. Everything is aligned. Everything is, it's wonderful. It is the thing that I do this for, is to see that happen.
Lately, I've been seeing that you've had a lot of clients, I guess, come to you and ask for help. And I wondered if you had any advice for people who are looking for a career coach. What should they look for? What do you think is important for them to look at?
That's a great question. I would say 2 traits to look for right off. I mean, clearly, can they coach? I mean, look for credentials, right? Are they really a coach? But I think empathy and resourcefulness. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. And I might know tech really well or healthcare. I helped a sommelier once. But with empathy, a coach can understand what the situation is. Where's your heart? Where's your fear? Where's your concern? Where do you want to go? And maybe dig a little bit deeper to really understand what's happening with that person, really love that person with the empathy. And being resourceful says, great, I might not know that answer, but I sure know where to get that. And I'm going to go tap my pool of people. I'm going to pull some resources. I have tools that you and I can work on together to get the answer. And with that empathy and that care and the resourcefulness, you'll have a fantastic, powerful coach. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you have a success story around that.
Ooh, let me think real fast. Yes, I had a client, young client, early 20s, a vast background, did many things, started in early childhood development, went to some other things in her education, had a lot of consulting jobs, contractor jobs, not consulting, contractor jobs, and moved around a lot. So it looked kind of spotty on the resume. And so when I started meeting with her, she was just all over and thought all she was capable of was one thing. And it was a very low thing. So just a lot of talking, a lot of listening, a lot of her breaking down some of these things, which can be really painful, but listening and hanging in there and pulling on the little strings. She ended up landing a fantastic job in a FANG company. She's been there a year and she's ready to move on to her promotion. She was able to focus. We got her to say, this is the thing that makes me feel whole. This is the thing that I'm really good at. The intersection of those things is really powerful. But if you don't know to ask the questions, you're not going to know where that person is and what's going to drive them in their career. So I think the success is helping that one person find the path, get the confidence, and actually nail it and do so well on the job, she's ready for the next up, level in her career.
I love that story. I'm glad you shared it. That's great. And so fortunate for her that she found you, fortunate for her that you were able to coach her and help her do all those things, because I think we get into a pattern or a rut. This is how it's going to be. And we convince ourselves in our head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's frightening to let go of the thing that you think you know. The thing that's known is the most comfortable, but it might not be right.
Right. And it takes someone like you, someone who really sees her, to help her see herself in a different way.
Exactly.
Ah, wonderful.
Gratifying.
Yeah. So now that you are 2 years into this, any words of wisdom that you have for maybe a new coach coming in?
Oh, just stick with it.
Oh.
Just stick with it. Tenacity, perseverance, just keep doing it. Keep assessing your own value. Don't get lost in the grind.
That is so true.
You keep your head above water, just keep going. And when it's not above water, tap your own safety net, tap the group of people who love you and can bring you up. But don't give up. This is one of the most rewarding things that you could ever do. Yeah.
Love it. Anything else you'd like to share?
Invest in your own learning. I do a lot with my clients on let's learn this, let's learn that, let's change, let's grow. I also challenge myself, learn new things, grow, try something new. Always invest in yourself as well. Don't get so caught up in the operations of running your own business you forget about yourself. Yeah. Take care of yourself. Ooh, related to that, and you know this one. Earlier this year, I kind of made a mistake with my own scheduling and understanding my capacity, and I overbooked myself. And it's really easy to do because you want to help. You say, "Oh, I can do this for you. I can do that for you." And I ended up saying yes a few too many times. So I think it comes back to investing in yourself. What are you capable of? What can you truly give back that has meaning? And how do you take care of yourself so you're your best person?
Yeah, I think there's an evolution as far as a fear, not necessarily for you, but you had mentioned something that you said yes, and you overcommitted yourself. There's like this evolution where we're afraid to say no. At first, we're afraid to say yes. Like we first start our business as career coaches, and we're like freaking out because we're going to have a client. So afraid to say yes. I know. And then we get to a point where we're afraid to say no. It's fascinating.
It is.
How we're constantly learning about ourselves as we help others. I agree with you. I think that's been the most remarkable part of this journey.
Right. Because it's kind of a high, right? And when it works and everything is going really well, you want more of that. So it's hard to say no to that.
Yeah.
Like, I can do this. This is going to be great. But I lost track of my own capacity. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this. Anyone who works with you, oh my goodness, they're so lucky. They're so fortunate. Your deep expertise, your background, your ability to see people, and your ability, and this is it, your ability to say things that are quite targeted, but in a way in which that is accepted. It's welcomed. At least I'm speaking from my own experience. Right? When you say something, I'm like, oh yeah, it's said in such a way. I'm like, yes, I realize that about myself. And I don't know if you're saying that specifically to me or just a group in general, but there have been definitely times that your advice, your coaching has been incredibly well received.
Thank you. Thank you, Kara.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ruth, for coming on and sharing about you and your background, about your clients, the successes, and words of wisdom.
Thanks, Kara. This was great. Thank you for asking me.